In this modern culture, where people have become so obsessed with productivity and how much we can get done all at once, slow living seems far-fetched, even for me. Today I want to share with you the 7 simple micro habits that I've started implementing in order to get rid of the burnout I have been experiencing. You see, the past few years I've been struggling with burnout, and while last week I set the intention to slow down and normalize my dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin naturally. If you want to learn more about dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin and how they affect burnout, you can watch that video here. Let's get into it. Here are the 7 habits I've added to my lifestyle to slow down this week. Number 1, space. I don't know if you can tell, but my room is an absolute mess.
Baby, baby, you are really hurting me. I know you play your part, but baby, it's breaking my heart. How could I know? If you don't need me, just let me know and I'll go.
It's really hard to enjoy life in an overwhelming physical space. And I know that no one wants to spend all their days cleaning. So start small, clean up, and simplify one space in your home at a time. Usually I'd say start with the living room because it's likely to be the easiest place to start. It's a room that doesn't really require too much work to be done, and at least not as much as the other rooms like the kitchen or a bedroom or a closet or a garage. And slow living wise, it's a room that is made for living, relaxing, cozying up, and feeling at ease. So spend some time in your living room, purge, simplify, clear off the surfaces, limit the visual clutter, and make it inviting, calm, and cozy. I'm starting in my bedroom because this is where I spend most of my time working, editing, and all those other important things. Number 2, phone fasting for 2 hours a day. So many people will think that this is a crazy notion to suggest spending half the day apart from your phone as a simple starting point to slower living. And yet I feel it's worth including. Just the other day, I thought about how when I was a kid, there weren't smartphones, and I didn't even have a cell phone till I was like 14. People throughout history have lived and thrived with much less input and stimulation. Maybe I'm just a sensitive person, but it seems so hard for me to enjoy life and not feel frazzled and overwhelmed by the thoughts whirling around in my head when I don't have these limits on my phone. Making sure I don't spend any time on my phone before bed or after waking up has been a game changer for me. Number 3, working out at least 4 times a week. So exercise also increases endorphins, but when we have a lack of endorphins, we feel an inability to cope and deal with stress, which results in anxiety and panic. Exercise is also known to affect all 3, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Now you might wonder, well, what has this got to do with slow living? Even though exercise isn't a part of slow living, it is still something that you want to incorporate to have a healthy lifestyle. Number 4, getting enough sleep. This affects both your oxytocin and serotonin. And if you combine it with the law of dopamine, which states that if you do something or complete a task right after waking up, your day tends to be a whole lot better. And this task could be something as simple as taking a shower, brushing your teeth, making your bed, or even making a cup of coffee. Number 5, ice plunge or cold shower. Cold showers or ice plunges activate reward pathways after the initial discomfort. I'd say start with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your shower. Now, I haven't really got access to an ice bath, so cold shower it is. Now, I also haven't been taking the whole shower cold because, well, yeah, no, not happening. So just the last 30 seconds of my shower. And if you want the tracker, as well as the evaluation that medical professionals use to diagnose burnout, you can find them in the description below for free. Number 6, sunlight. Marketing yells at us. Notifications demand our attention. Look at this, buy this, do this. And I love this quote from Walter M. Miller Jr. Beautiful things don't ask for attention. This week I set a challenge for myself to spend 1 hour outside every day. Not for any productive reason. I feel like anytime I spend outside, there's always like an agenda for it, like getting exercise, hiking. Not that these things aren't bad. I just think spending time outside for the sake of spending time outside has just changed so much for me. And really protecting that time has become one of the most favorite parts of my day. Number 7, DIY projects. In this modern world, we've figured out how to hijack our brains with things like our phones, social media, fast food, and alcohol. They spike our dopamine and give us instant feelings of reward and pleasure. Doing a couple DIYs that are just a little complicated help us to improve our emotional regulation via delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is important because it has a huge impact on how we reach future important goals. Number 8. Now this is a bonus one, but small things. When you make dinner, like a soup for instance, double batch or triple batch, you don't have to do crazy meal preps or go out of the way to do crazy things. Just start small. Set the table for meals. Meals can become so fast-paced. Everybody's hungry. Why bother sitting together? Let's just sit in front of the TV. People just need to eat. But when you take the few extra moments to clean off your table, set it with love, and gather everyone around it, it really makes the meal special. Disclaimer. Now I know a whole lot of us have crazy work schedules and you may not feel like you have time or the energy to be doing any of this. But hear me out. Instead of blaming your current circumstances, your job, your schedule, have a look at the things that you can change.
Now before you shout at me, just take a look at your average screen time the last 6 months and tell me that you couldn't have spent that time just a little bit better.
This week has taught me a lot when it comes to slow living, and I hope it can help you too. So this has been part 2 of my 5-part series where I attempt to kick burnout to the curb. You can go back and watch part 1 where I talk about what burnout is and how to normalize your dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin normally without medication. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you again in the next one.
You know my lips, and that's how much they wanna kiss you.